Hello, this is Xavier, and today I will be giving a poetry analysis of one of the most well-known, if not the most famous, Shakespeare sonnet, Sonnet 18. So, some background information. This sonnet was written by William Shakespeare, and he composed his sonnets between 1593 and 1601, although he published them in the Sonnets of Shakespeare in 1609. All of his sonnets are written in what we call Shakespearean, which is 3 quatrains and a couplet. A quatrain is 4 lines and a couplet is 2. So his sonnets 1 through 126 are addressing a beloved friend who is widely believed to be a young nobleman. And nearly all of his sonnets examine the inevitable decay of time and the immortalization of beauty and love in poetry, which is exemplified in this Sonnet 18. So here's the poem. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's leaf hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou'st. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long live this, and this give life to thee. So some side notes, it has a very simple rhyme scheme, and Shakespeare used this rhyme scheme in all of his sonnets, and this poem is written in iambic pentameter. So I'm going to divide this each into quatrains and the couplet. So beginning with the first quatrain, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shakespeare, he begins with a question. Is it a good idea to compare you to a summer's day? And this creates a metaphor, which will be used throughout the poem between summer and his beloved. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. So he's saying you are more lovely, more beautiful, and you're more temperate, which means consistently milder and calmer. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. So the darling buds in this line can symbolize beauty. And because summer might be sporadic, the rough winds will destroy the darling buds. So beauty will be destroyed, and therefore beauty of summer is not everlasting. And summer's leaf hath all too short a date. So this means summer's way too short. And it kind of personifies summer as in summer is taking out a lease with nature. And this lease has an expiration date that's just way too short. So the second quatrain. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. So the eye of heaven is a metaphor for the sun, and sometimes it might be too hot. And often is his gold complexion dimmed. So sometimes the sun is dimmed or blocked by the clouds. And every fair from fair sometime declines. So eventually, this means everything that's beautiful will come to an end. And there's also some alliteration here in fair from fair, each word starting with the consonant F. By chance or nature's changing course and trim. So beauty will end either by bad luck or by the will of nature. And untrimmed in the sentence can mean lack of ornament or decoration. There's also consonants in here between chance and nature's and changing, which emphasizes the sound ch. So the third quatrain. Now I want to just point out that in this third quatrain, the poem takes a different tone of voice, as if Shakespeare's beloved is summer, instead of just comparing. So he's saying, but thy eternal summer shall not fade. So he's saying your eternal summer shall not fade, and summer as in its most beautiful state. So your beauty will never fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou'st. So you will not lose your beauty, unlike summer. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade. Death won't be able to brag about you, because usually death will brag about its conquest over life, but because, well, as Shakespeare will later explain, I've written this poem about you, and death won't be able to claim you. There's also personification of death, since death is bragging. When in eternal lines to time thou growest. Eternal lines, it's a metaphor for poetry, and he's saying, in these eternal lines, you will grow as time grows on. So to end with this couplet, he's saying, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so as long as there's people on this earth and they can read, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. This is the poem. And he's saying as long as people read it, this poem will live on forever. Now the interesting part of this is that he's saying this poem gives life to you. Shakespeare's saying that because I've written this poem about you, your beauty has been immortalized forever. So no matter what happens, no matter if the rough winds destroy the darling buds of May, or if summer's lease is too short, it won't matter because I've written this poem about you. And that's why death can't brag about you. So I hope you found this presentation interesting, and thank you for watching.